of India, what comes to your mind? This is a question I had to answer. Earlier this month, I took a 2-week trip to Kolkata, India. I went there because I have 13 people that help me keep this place running, had a full agenda, but I also brought some expectations and some assumptions with me on my trip. This speech will look at some of those expectations. It will look at how some of those expectations were met, and it will also look at things I never even considered, to give you just a taste of India. So what do you think of? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? The first thing that came to my mind was people. Did you know that India has 1.2 billion people? Compare that to the 311 million people here in the United States. 4 times as many people in a country that's roughly 1/3 of the size of the United States. I expected people to be there, and yes, absolutely, there were people everywhere. No matter what time of the day, there were people on the streets. Just as many people as in this room I could see at all times of the day. So it was an interesting experience. Traffic, absolutely. There's traffic. So people, definitely an expectation that was fulfilled. What else do you think of? Maybe you think of weather. I was told before going to India that you do not want to go to India in April or May because it's going to be hot, especially in Calcutta. So I went with the expectation of crazy hot weather. Luckily, for me, it wasn't that bad. There was many storms while I was there, which was actually out of the ordinary. Storms very similar to what you're seeing here. The nice thing about those storms was that when you had a storm, it cooled the day off. So it really wasn't too bad. So weather kind of met expectations, very interesting experience. I even experienced an earthquake, which was quite neat. Another expectation that I had going into India was exotic animals. I had thoughts of elephants like this, walking around the streets with gurus on top. I didn't see any elephants, except for this one, which I purchased for my kids. I also had the privilege of seeing some ravenous golden koi and some majestic marble lions, which was quite interesting. But that was the extent of the exotic animals that I faced. Another expectation that I brought to India was art, culture, architecture. Expectation fulfilled. I took a tour on Saturday of Calcutta, and we spent the entire day going to various locations, several temples, several churches, several structures. And it held true. If you ever want to take a tour, go to India. There's so much to see. And I didn't even see not even a quarter in that one day. So yes, expectation met. Art, culture, architecture. So what was it, though, that was interesting to me? What was it that I wasn't expecting? There were a couple things. Symbolism. You know, here, when you want to attach a symbol or a meaning to something, you come up with a meme, like on Facebook. Well, in India, every detail matters. It means something, from the clothes that you wear, to how you do your hair, to the jewelry. Everything means something. I was told by the tour guide that there's 16 to 17 different ways for a woman to identify that she's married. And each way represents an area maybe that she's from, whether it's the east, the west, the south. So there's just so much meaning. If you look at the picture, you'll see that the elephant, Ganesha, has its trunk, depending on which way it points, means something. It means it's from this location or it was made in this location. So much meaning I never would have even expected. It's one thing. Sports. The hotel I was staying in was very fortunate that it was the place that the Kolkata Knight Riders were staying. Now, the Kolkata Knight Riders are very much like the Philadelphia Phillies here. Here's a jersey that I got to wear. I went to the opening game on Thursday for the IPL League, which is basically the season opener. And I saw how many people were watching this. and were interested in this? How many people, it's all over the news. So much more people are into sports. Everyone here is into sports. I'm not. But a lot of people are. In Calcutta, in India, it's huge. Cricket is huge. That was something I wasn't expecting. Another expectation that I didn't quite have was the hospitality. I expected people to be nice. I'm going over there as a foreigner to deal with people that I'm technically considered their boss. So I expected people to be nice, but the amount of hospitality that I received was far, far beyond my expectations. Every night I went, someone was there, taking me out to dinner, taking me out on a tour, even inviting me to their home and having their wife cook me dinner. It was absolutely excellent. And by the end of the trip, I was even gifted with this. This is something that I will never, ever lose, and that will be in every one of my offices from here to eternity. This is my entire team. The entire team on this, and it was just an amazing experience. So as you can see, I brought certain expectations and assumptions to this trip. Some of them held true, like the amount of people. Weather was interesting. Food, that's something I didn't even talk about, was good. Some of the things were something I would have never even considered. It was absolutely an amazing trip, and I urge anyone here, if you ever have a chance to travel, you have to do it. If you work with people from another country, you have to go, because you don't understand how they live or how they work or how they think until you are in their shoes and you can see it. Amazing experience. I hope that gives you just a taste of India, and thank you very much.